Hey guys, so today is the last day of February, so you know what that means. It is time to stop and rank all 6 movies that I saw this month from the worst to the best. Let's go. Hey Colonel, so like I said, I've seen about 6 movies this month. Not all of them bad, actually most of them pretty good. I know there's gonna be a lot more movies coming out this year, especially just month by month. I'm gonna try to get these out. These videos always happen to fall on some kind of weird day, but I'm gonna try and do my best to get these out for you guys. You can kind of know where I'm at, and then at the end of the year, I'll still do a regular top 10, even thinking about ranking every movie that I see this year, but we'll kind of see how that goes. But real quick, before we kind of dive into this, if you want to see some other of my monthly rankings, I'm sure they're in there somewhere, kind of mixed in with all my other rankings. And let's dive into my February ranked movies. So coming in last place, I have Paddington in Peru. Now, this isn't necessarily a bad movie. It's just a very play it safe kind of movie. It does literally like cookie cutter stuff. They go to Peru. It's a very treasure hunting movie. It feels very silly. It feels very family friendly. And like, that's not a bad thing. Like, that's what Paddington's supposed to be about. Now, I will preface by saying I still have not seen the first 2 Paddington films, so that is still on my watch. But I did kind of look to see if I could watch this movie, you know, being that I haven't seen those 2, and they said it's totally fine, like it's not really a big thing. Now, I've heard that the first 2 Paddington movies are far superior to this one. This one just kind of lacked a lot for me in terms of like a failure. It didn't really make me feel anything. It was just kind of like a funny movie to watch. That's really all I have to say about it. It just felt like a very generic Redbox rental movie. That's just kind of how I felt about it. At number 5, I have Love Hurts. Now, this was a movie that I was actually pretty excited about. It came out around Valentine's Day. I know that. I think it was like a week before Valentine's Day. The first thing I want to talk about here is that the fight choreography is pretty good. It definitely changes things up in it. I love when you can get really good camera work on your fight, you know, choreography, and have some cool fight scenes that aren't just guys hitting each other, but like using your surroundings. And that movie does seem to do this at least most of the way through. And then like they start kind of getting like straying from that, using like more weapons like tasers and stuff like that. That's kind of when I started to like doze off. But it's still a decent movie. It's a very short movie too. I think it's like an hour and 20 minutes, like a 80-minute runtime or something. I think it's like 90 minute runtime. So it's not a very long movie. But if you know you're looking to catch a quick movie, you know, well, Valentine's Day is past now, but it's still, I think it's still in theaters. It's not a bad movie to watch if you're looking for something new. Coming in at number 4, I have Last Breath. Now, I actually just went to go see this last night, and I know it's based off of a real story, and they even did like a whole documentary about it. It's about these guys, you know, like they go underwater, they're like divers, and they fix the pipelines and, you know, stuff like that. Now, the thing that first caught my eye about this was the cast, and that is Woody Harrelson and Simu Liu, 2 of one of my favorite actors. The story itself is pretty engaging. It revolves around, you know, again, some deep sea divers where one of their lifelines gets cut off. Like, literally it gets ripped because he gets it, like, tangled around this one thing. And he is down. He eventually, you know, he has a little bit of air in his tank, but for the boat to get back to where it was and, you know, all that, I believe he was without, like, oxygen to his brain for, like, 30 minutes. And he survived and sustained no brain damage, which is incredible. I was actually looking at some of the reports on how that actually happened, and there's no really, he should have been dead. But from what I understand is that he somehow, like, because of like the high concentration of oxygen in his tank, that it like maybe stored in his lungs a little bit. But that's just the best guess I have. Coming in at number 3, I have The Monkey, which just feels like a very silly movie to have on this list, but it actually was quite fun. It kind of centers around this monkey who is a killing machine. You know, it's kind of like, you know, the classic horror trope. It's like, oh, it's like some kind of item that kills people, right? Well, on this monkey, you twist its back and it plays the drums and it randomly selects somebody to kill, Final Destination style, preferably, actually. because it very much will like the one mom, I think she just has an aneurysm, or like the one person, it's like electricity in the pool, or like someone's opening a closet and there just happens to be a shotgun that goes off right when they open the closet. It's very Final Destination like. It's a decent movie. It actually plays out pretty weird, just in terms of like the way things happen, but it's a fine movie. I actually had quite a bit of fun with it. It has a very, I want to say specific comedy like way to it. It's not for everybody, but if you know that if you watch the trailer and you think you'll like it, you'll probably end up liking it. In my runner-up for this month, I have Heart Eyes, a new take on thrillers, which is, it kind of reminds me of the Thanksgiving movie where it was like a holiday killer, right? But this time it's a Valentine's Day killer. I think this movie has Olivia Holt in it, which I thought was pretty cool to see her, back on the big screen. I really haven't seen her in many other things, besides from her Disney Channel days when she was in Kickin' It, and I think a movie called Girl vs. Monster. So, I mean, she was cool to see in that kind of stuff. This movie is pretty good though. One thing that it does, it doesn't like follow the typical like, oh, the killer's gonna kill a couple of people and then it's just gonna keep going around and like, who's next? The killer, like pretty much the whole movie is following our main couple, and then other people kind of get in the way and that's when they get killed. But for the most part, the killer's after these two people like all night, and that just kind of has to do with the whole thing of like, they're going after couples on Valentine's Day. I also really like the design. If you go and watch my full review, I talk about like the design of the Hard Eyes like costume, and how I really like that there's like the glow up hard eyes are like night vision goggles, and I thought that was really cool. But coming in at number 1 this month, I have to put it to Captain America Brave New World. I know there's been a lot of controversy, and a lot of people loving this movie, a lot of people not liking this movie. I'm here to set the record straight for at least myself, that I really enjoyed this movie. I had a great time with this movie, and I just don't, when I've heard a lot of the complaints of, well, this just feels more like a Hulk movie, and to that, I very much disagree. Again, if you go watch my full review, but I basically said that I think people forget that, like, pre-Endgame, there were a lot of, like, mixing different heroes and storylines. Like, people say that because this movie has, like, some Hulk plots, like, it has Red Hulk, right? Like, the president, it has the leader. Well, I don't think that just because it has those two people in it that it necessarily makes it a Hulk movie. I mean, you have Sidewinder, and the plot is very Captain America-like. I mean, you have a plot where a man, Isaiah Bradley, which to me was probably the best part of this movie, and he's being, like, wrongfully imprisoned for something like mind control. I seriously doubt that Mark Ruffalo as Hulk could solve that issue. And then I saw, like, all this stuff about, like, She-Hulk, and I was like, that just sounds boring to me, personally. I really happy with the end game, no pun intended, that we got here with this movie. I love Sam Wilson as Captain America. I love Torres as Falcon. I love everything that we got in this movie. I think it was a great movie. I even went to see it twice, thinking, was it just my initial reaction that was, like, overhyping this? And no, I went to go see this a second time and had probably just as much as fun a time as I did the first time I went. I think it was a great movie, and I can't wait till it comes out on 4K so I can add it to my collection back there. But yeah, that's kind of where my February movies ranked sits at. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments below what your February ranking is. Maybe there's some movies here that I didn't rank, maybe like a streaming service movie. I know there's one or two, like for example, I know there's one on Amazon Prime called The Gorge that I just didn't get around to seeing this month. I'll probably end up seeing it at some point this year, just not this second. I'd love to know what your guys's rankings for this month's movies are. And again, I'll be trying to put one out in March as well. I'm very excited for next week as I'll be going to see Mickey 17. I think that movie looks like a lot of fun. A lot of fun, especially because I'm a big fan of Parasite. So, I should probably enjoy Mickey 17 as well. It's Robert Pattinson. I don't think there's how can you not love the man? I mean, he's the best Batman. That's my personal opinion. But anyway, I will see you guys all in the next video. Peace, Colonels.